everyone, welcome back to a new episode of Observation Channel. Today, Jade will take you back to Asia again and let's have a look at this RCEP. So we call it RCEP, but it actually means RCEP, which stands for Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. This agreement involves 15 countries, mostly Southeast Asian countries, along with China, Korea, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia. So these countries are really a big deal because they make up 1/3 of the world's population as well as 29% of the world economy. So what this RCEP is trying to achieve is a regional tariff exemption. We used to be very familiar with the idea of bilateral trading cooperation, which means between these two nations they will have a tariff exemption. However, this time for RCEP, we join the dots, making them into lines, and these lines form a face that becomes a regional thing. Every country in this agreement will benefit from this tariff exemption. So if I want to buy a PlayStation 5 this year, I will have a good deal. So let's back to the topic. What does RCEP means for every country in this agreement? I suggest this time let's look at this problem from an economic point of view. Let's start with the Southeast Asian countries. Why do they want to join this agreement? Well, actually, they are the initiators of this agreement. Well, I think a lot of people might think again that for RCEP, it's another initiative China is taking, trying to expand their power, but not this time because for Southeast Asian countries, they have been facing a dilemma for many years, which we call them the invasion. So invasion, it's not an economic term, but it also makes sense if we put into a country, a scenario of a country. That basically means these countries have a huge population and is growing fast. However, their industrialization process is too slow. So as a result, the population brings more problems instead of a demographic dividend. Let's take Indonesia as an example. The government used to expect their population will reach 0.28 billion by 2025. But however, this number was already reached this year. So in May this year, Indonesia was facing a huge food crisis. There is not enough food for the peoples in that country. The food stock across the whole nation can only supply the country for 3 months. So they have to invest a lot on the food import. But with RCEP, they can hop on a train that is basically an economic circulation led by major countries. So there will be more investments and more corporations with lower costs. So after we've covered the Southeast Asian nations, let's look at the real deal underlying this RCEP concept. Is the free trade zone, is a free trade between China, Japan, and Korea. For people from these three countries, we all know that our leaders tried to make agreement of free trade within these three countries for many years, but never realized that, would never make it because we used to jokingly say in China that whenever these leaders from these three countries were trying to have a conversation, there will definitely be an issue in Diaoyu Island. So we all know what does that mean. But RCEP marks the first step, the first leap these three countries made toward a free trade agreement within this ecosystem. But there's also another very interesting somehow intriguing country, that is India, which dropped out of this agreement amid the 8-year negotiation. But the reason behind it, we can also explain it by economy. That is, India isn't driven by export. So we can also say that it's not an export-oriented economy. They don't rely much on trading. So that we can see it here, they don't have a need for trading. If we look at the numbers in 2018, the value of export in India was only $32.3 billion. That is even much lower than other Southeast Asian countries. And plus, they have a trade deficit with 11 countries out of these 15 signatories. So that makes a good reason why they want to drop out. So back to China, I think that is the issue most people are discussing for RCEP. That is China trying to benefit or a lot, or try to lead this agreement again. I would say as a group of countries, there is definitely going to be a leader, a leading nation, but it's not determined by how great this country is. Let's also look at it from an economic point of view, that for market, for trading, there are basically 4 elements. That is the production, the circulation, and distribution and consumption. So for RCEP, they tackle down the problem of tariffs, right? Tariff basically solve the problem of circulation. So now what we have left is the distribution and consumption. So which means for these 15 countries, which country have the biggest power for consumption, that country will definitely lead this group. So in conclusion, we've been living in this magical world and not knowing what kind of news we'll wake up to tomorrow. But what matters here is from RCEP, I can see that these countries are trying to seek for common grounds, even though they realize there are differences. So that is a good sign, and people are also saying that it's a victory for multilateralism. And I think for a world like this, especially with COVID hitting this year, what we need is sticking together, is cooperation, is a dialogue, is to seek for solutions together with an integrated power. So as I can say that RCEP is definitely a very inspiring thing that's happening now. And thank you. That's today's episode. Hope you like it.